Yo.
Awesome.
I'm Jess Hemerly.
My name's Schluchter.
And we first want to thank our classmates for choosing us to speak here today. It's really an honor. And we really want to thank you for adding yet another task to this seemingly never-ending pile of stuff we have to do. We really appreciate it.
Dear class of 2011, the day has finally come. After long nights drenched in coffee, after chasing innumerable deadlines and being chased by them in some cases, after shedding sweat and the occasional tear over breaking code and unfinished papers, the day has finally come. This is the day we go out to the world and say, I have a master's in information management and systems. And the world will say,
you have a what? Now, we admit that it's a worn trope for speeches like this to say that after all the work we did, all the real challenges lie ahead. But in this case, we believe it has merit. Because now we face explaining what on earth it was we did these last 2 years. And after all that we put them through, we probably owe our families, our spouses, and our friends a solid explanation.
Degree names obviously have to abbreviate an entire educational experience into an acronym that fits nicely on a business card. So let's embark on a critical inquiry into what we shall call ourselves from this day on. Supposedly, we have mastered the management and information using systems. And after going through this program, I think we all realize that the magnitude of this claim. Quite frankly, it's a bit of a mouthful. And yet, it still doesn't quite encompass the wild variety of things that we have seen this class do.
For example, for their final projects, our classmates did things like visualize mental maps of San Francisco, develop a heart-focused game for kids, teach Oakland youth about user-centered design, and explore the intersection of privacy, identity, and education. Don't such lofty achievements call for a much more regal title than Master of Information Management and Systems? I've always been a fan of Master of Information. It's simple and it's awe-inspiring. Just picture Thomas identifying himself as a master of information in a job interview as lightning bolts shoot from his hands. Rebecca Black's song Friday is eradicated from the internet forever. Facebook starts taking privacy seriously, and the entire animal kingdom orders itself into a principled taxonomy: lawful, systematic, and arbitrary.
Or maybe a line of Python code returns hello world.
Reality probably lies somewhere on that spectrum, but that still doesn't help you explain to others what your degree really means. So we picked up where the class of 2010 speakers left off and set out to understand how our fellow humans conceive of us. Always empirically minded and treating our human subjects ethically, we undertook a research initiative to discover the meanings that ordinary citizens ascribe to the concept of a school of information.
Okay, we just tweeted the question.
So now we'll examine the responses one by one. And it's easy to do this because our failed crowdsourcing experiment elicited very few responses. First up, better to ask, what is not a school of information? Ouch. I think we've all heard a variation of that one. Maybe they should have just called it School of Important Things to Talk About.
Here's another one. It's a place where required reading is Facebook. Okay, that's just ridiculous. We do that voluntarily.
Is it a collective noun for a large amount of data, like a school of fish? So wouldn't that mean that Google is a dirty fish trawler with serious safety issues that destroys entire ecosystems for profit? I guess when I put it that way...
That makes sense, yeah. How about this one? And this is a bit offensive. If I had to guess, employees of the Ministry of Truth went to the School of Information. Honestly, it's been 15 years and these library science people are still angry.
And one of my friends on the internet, which is a valid way to cite things around here, he had one. Webster's dictionary defines information as a redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, heat, and disturbed function of an area of the body, especially as a reaction to tissues to injurious agents. You got nothing.
So, the truth is, nobody knows what a school of information is. And we'd like to submit to you today that that's actually a good thing. It means that each of us can have their own story. It means that we can tell people what we are passionate about. And it means that we got out of this experience what we put into it. And looking at the presentations on Thursday, I think we gave it all we got.
Or most of it. It's over, and there are many things that we'll miss. First and foremost, we'll really miss watching campus tours squint and point at the building, looking for the smallest bear on campus. Then there are the emails about GSR positions in random departments we've never heard of. The movie nights that never happened. And the failure of all attempts to enforce basic food safety and cleanliness practices in the master's lounge. Honestly, though, what would a graduate program be without its professors, and the folks who keep the entire operation humming while we toil away? The staff and faculty at the School of Information are supportive, caring, generous, and truly inspiring. You've made the iSchool a fun and challenging place to spend 2 years of our lives. We thank you, and we'll miss you. Perhaps most of all, we're going to miss our classmates.
We realize that probably everybody says that about their class, but seriously, the class of 2011 is an incredible and incredibly fun bunch of people. We are honored to call you our colleagues and, in many cases, our friends. We have cribbage and cricket players, photo hobbyists and rock climbers, West Coasters, East Coasters, far East Coasters, writers, painters, and pop culture junkies. But two skills of the class of 2011 really stand out, I think, and that is baking and karaoke.
We are really good at karaoke.
Actually, and this is no joke, we got a number of independent and unsolicited requests to sing instead of do a speech. We don't know whether that has to do more with how much they love our electrifying karaoke performances or how much they doubted we could give up a coherent speech. In either case, we hope you're only mildly disappointed. But we wrote this entire speech in Google Docs, so this is high school.
And finally, in closing, I'd like to quote one of my favorite famous blonde women. It is with passion, courage of conviction, and a strong sense of self that we take our next steps into the world, remembering that first impressions are not always correct. You must always have faith in people, and most importantly, you must always have faith in yourself. Congratulations, class of 2011. We did it!